Look, I can't keep sugarcoating this for you. Somebody needs to tell you, you suck at Pokemon Unite. No, I don't really mean that you suck at Pokemon Unite. You might. You actually might very well suck at Pokemon Unite. So might I. But I can claim with certainty that the reason you are losing some of your games isn't because you're not great enough at a certain Pokemon that you're playing, or because your teammates are doing something wrong. It's because of your macro decisions in game. Now, what do I mean by macro decisions in game? The game of Pokemon Unite consists of two types of gameplay. You have your micro play, which is how good you are at playing a specific Pokemon, the buttons you push, in what order you push them, and the macro play, which is your positioning, your overall awareness of the entire map, the movements the rest of your team is making. Where is the optimal place that I should be at this time? Which objective should I be fighting? How should I position myself in the raid pit? All of these are macro decisions that are extremely important to winning your game. And you might have experienced this when you see a gold ribbon Zeraora queue into your match, and you assume they must be extremely experienced since they have a gold ribbon on a Pokemon, but that Zeraora ends up being the reason you lose. And that's because they have great microplay on that Zeraora, but they have no idea where to position themselves. They're backcapping at Ray. They're moving around in places that they shouldn't be. They're not grouping up with the team. And that's why you're losing these games. That Gold Ribbon Zeraora's macro sucks. Now, macro play is something that I have had to get better at for a long time. I've been working really hard to perfect my macro play, and it's not perfect. I have not perfected it. I don't think it's possible for me ever to perfect it, because I'm not even a great micro player, necessarily. But I've been working hard on my macro decision making, and I feel like I've gotten a lot better. So, in this video, I'm going to show you an example using a support Pokemon to learn the types of macro and how you need to play from a macro standpoint, regardless of how good you are at one specific Pokemon. So what we're going to do is we're going to hop into the practice area so that I can go over the different points in the game that you need to be looking out for as a support Pokemon. So generally, you and your teammate are going to be running up this lane, and you're going to be grabbing some farm, and you have a couple options from here. You want to try to go for this this one. You want to try to go for this Indeedee to try and prevent the other team from getting more experience. There's also the option of going with your teammate to stack, if they are stacking, so that if you're wearing a EXP share, which is crucial for many supports nowadays, if you're wearing EXP share, you can get more EXP from them stacking. Next are the 850 birds, the Swablu and Altaria camp that show up in the middle. You're going to make sure that you're going for these and helping out your team to get as many of them as possible, and running around to try to avoid this Ghastly from killing me. If you're wearing EXP share, which, again, wear it, it's good for supports, then you're going to want to make sure you're still the lowest level on the team. Next, these in the middle spawn at 8 minutes. You're definitely going to want to make sure that as a support, you are here ready for this fight to help zone out the enemy team from getting these, and make sure that your team, your carry, can get there as well. You'd expect that your jungler shows up to this. You'd expect that maybe someone from lane shows up to this as well to try to collect this experience, because it is super important. You're going to want to zone out over here, make sure that the enemy can't reach your carries, and do your best to heal them, provide support, provide CC, whatever it is you need to do. Next are the 720 birds that spawn in the top and bottom. Again, the same as the 850s. You're going to want to be here as well for those. It's pretty easy to navigate the very beginning of the game, because every couple seconds or so, every minute or so, a new objective is coming up on the map. And speaking of objectives, at 7 minutes, the top objective and bottom objectives spawn. As a support, you can't decide which objective you go to, because it's up to your team to decide for you which Funnelbee just took out the Gengar in the top path. Your team, your carries, the ones who are going to be doing damage to the objectives, are going to decide for you which objective you're going to end up at. It's better to be at this bottom objective here, but going to the top objective might be necessary if that's where your team is. As a support, it would be very difficult for you to solo objectives in the top and bottom completely by yourself. So always keep a lookout on the minimap for where your teammates are and go to the objective that they are at. You can't win fights if you're not grouped up, and you can't support anyone if you're by yourself. Next is the mid game, which can be a very difficult part of Pokemon Unite to navigate, especially as a support Pokemon. At this point, it's around 5 minutes, both objectives in the top and bottom are gone, and you now hopefully have your Unite move, everyone on your team has their Unite moves, and you are trying to decide what you're going to do next. The best thing that you can do as a supporter is to position yourself sort of in front of your carries, close enough to them where you're getting experience from what they are farming, you're getting experience from their KOs, and you're able to heal them and provide support to them. So if this is my teammate and we are fighting over this tier 1 goal, we want to try to break it, the best thing that I can do as a support is walk near them, try to block any shots from being taken at them, and be able to walk around, heal them as necessary while taking hits for them. Generally, you have to, as a support, assume that your carries are going to be a higher level than you, so it's going to be better if you get KO'd, give the other team less experience for getting KO'd than if your carry were to get KO'd. As a support during the mid-game, one of the other best things you can do is be getting vision. The supports aren't the best for off-laning. For example, if you have a tier 1 goal open and this Gengar is trying to score on it, and all of your team is up here fighting at this Regieleki, as a supporter, it's not going to be your job to be down here defending this goal. That will be the job of an off-laner, a potential attacker, Pokemon that can stand around in this area and is not going to be super valuable for a fight in a different area of the map. As a support, you need to be where your team is at all times. And if there aren't fights happening, the most important thing you can do is potentially getting vision for your team. You don't want to make pushes by yourself. You don't want to do much without a member of your team around you, but you want to try to get vision to see where the enemy team is, to float around this mid part of the map, to float around your goals, to float around the enemy's goals, to see where they are so that your team can know exactly where the enemy is and be able to create counterplays to them. Finally, you have the end game as a support. As a support, I like to start positioning around the Ray Pit at about 2:15 to see where the enemy is. Again, constantly getting vision, always having my Unite move. You're probably going to be around level 11, level 12 to have all of your moves fully upgraded. And you're going to wait for these fights to start. Rayquaza has CC moves that can throw you in the air, such as it did with this Gengar. So as a support, you want to make sure that you are positioning yourself away from the Rayquaza attacks and also be able to support your teammates. Also in this fight as a support and as any role, it's important to use your Unite move. So I have used my Unite move. Clefable's Unite move is a metronome, so you get different moves, and I used Fly, and I also killed the Gengar somehow. The end game is the most crucial point of the Unite match, because this is where the match can get flipped in favor of the enemy team or your team if you're winning or losing. This potentially can decide everything in the game. So you're going to want to make sure you're slightly out in front, around your carries, always keeping an eye on who's ripping the Rayquaza, how low the Rayquaza's health is, and do your best to be in the right position to take damage, to potentially do damage, and to use your Unite move on the enemy team. So I hope this practice game helped to understand the different objectives that are going on inside the game and where in general you want to be positioned. I can't say everything in this game because it's a practice match. There are no teammates around, but I can explain generally where you should be as a support and what you should be thinking about doing. And I'm going to show you now a game in practice where I was playing Clefable and tried to explain my thought processes of macro decision making in the game. Alright, the team is dedicated to frontlining for our Zacian, so... Alright, so in this game I'm going to try to narrate what I'm doing in terms of my macro play. So macro play gets you, it means your positioning. It means where how you're frontlining, how you're positioning yourself, what decisions you're making based on where your team is. And its macro is different for every role in the game. And for support, it's very particular because you're not exactly always a frontliner, but you are. It is important that you are somewhat frontlining for your team. So, since I'm laning with a Trevenant, it's a little different because the Trevenant's also tanky, but I'm going to be treating the Trevenant as my damage dealer. I secure that, and I'm going to follow him. I actually gotta go. He's goal-gettering the 13. He gets it in, too. That's so stupid. Oh, I shouldn't have done that, because he just gets that for free, too. Come on, can we get him? Okay, we get him. Alright, so I have my 4 now. We're doing pretty good. I'm going to treat this Trevenant sort of as my damage dealer and try to frontline for it best I can. I want to save my Disarming Voice as a bit of a secure and then walk in with the Trevenant. I'm going to have to do whatever the Trev wants to do here. Uh-oh. Alright, we got ganked. A late gank. I don't know where their Greninja was. I guess it came bottom after. I didn't expect the Greninja to be there. It's important to watch the map to see where your team is, so I know that my jungler is top right now. And I wasn't looking for their jungler on the map, so that's the first mistake. I should have made sure I was looking to see where their Greninja was, but I figured since I didn't see them, they were top. I assume they're now in jungle. Do some damage. I don't think we beat them with the 2 of us, but I'm going to be here supporting. Trying to support my Trevenant. Wow, that LD. Okay. The LD came back, and it didn't expect my thing to have that much reach. Greedent abandoned the Eldegoss, which means that we let our Trevenant get stacked, but that means we also let this Greedent stack. Why does this Bullet Seed last so long? Nice! So see, if I'm just following my Trevenant, the game is for my Trevenant right now. The game is Trevenant's game. I just follow him, and he makes the decisions for our team right now. He's making the decisions for me. He wants to score, we're scoring. I couldn't get my gravity off in time. But I get my gravity off there. The idea is that the water bear doesn't get to dash into the Trevenant. Unfortunately, they are just going to take this, but I am going to try to defend here. Now that our dog is here, we have 2 top right now, and I don't see any of them on the map. So I'm going to have to assume they're all bottom, which it looks like they might be. I take that. Zacian's going in here, so I'm going to try my best to heal him, place the gravity. And I heal him up. Go ahead. Score. Alright. Healing him up. And we're going to now follow whatever he wants to do. He's going to go here, so we're going to go top. There's a couple top right now. So I'm going to try to make some plays. I came in a little bit too hard there, so I'm going to back up. I live, which is good. Get ult immediately. We get Hydro Pump. And we take that. Place the gravity down. I want to try to get into my tree here. Look for where my dog is. Be in front of the dog so that they're going to target me instead of him. Try to get my team to score. And stand on them. Placing the gravity there was important so that the Urshifu can't do anything. And now what we're doing is just zoning for my team to get that Aleki. Place the gravity down there so the Greninja can't do anything against us. We might be able to push this in. I really doubt it, but again, I'm a support, you know. So I gotta do my best to support my team and the decisions that they want to make. We want to back out. I'm going to ping to back out. I don't think we can win this. I can't help them anymore because my health is too low. So even healing them doesn't make that much sense. Looking at the mini-map now, there's an objective coming up bottom. And my Zacian's there, so I'm going right down there, checking my ult pings, checking my team's ult. Zacian has ult, so it can secure. I would like to just take this because I don't see any of them on the map, but that's also dangerous because I don't see any of them on the map. He immediately takes, placing a gravity here, and we're going to ult. We got blocked, so it doesn't matter. Make sure the Greedent can't get away, using the block. Heal my team a little bit, chase the Greedent out. And now that gave enough time for my Venusaur to take that. So now this is a difficult part of the game, right? Because it's about 4 minutes. We have 2 outside goals up, and I don't just want to give it to them for free. But I'm also a support, so I also want to make sure I'm supporting my teammates the entire time. Placing a gravity. We're fighting in this choke here, which isn't great. Placing a gravity again. This is everyone's like last chance to ult, so everyone's ulting here. And I'm just doing my best to stay in the fight. Grab whoever I can on my team and make sure they're being healed. Trevenant's pain splitting him. And once again, Trevenant and I are just zoning. This Trevenant is playing a really good zoning with me because now their team can't get through us at all. We're high enough level. I'm constantly healing the Trevenant. I don't think we push this, so I'm going to ping a retreat. But if they're going to push up, then we wait for them to push up. We don't want to go too far in. I guess we are. And this is going to go in. So we end up pushing that in. Let's go. Get back. This one's definitely a retreat. So the reason that I ping retreat, but I don't retreat is because the game is in my team's hands. I'm supporting them, so if the decision that they are going to make is they're going to decide to push this, I need to be with them. Even if I don't want to, even if I think it's a bad play, which I personally think it was a bad play, but luckily the enemy team pushed too far out of the tier 2 goal, so that means the Regieleki was dealing damage to them. And Slowbro unfortunately got itself into a bad position and ulted, so that isn't great. I know immediately from watching them kill the Slowbro that I need to go top. He only has 2 points. That's not a big deal. Okay. My Slowbro is still down. My team is positioned way too far up. I need to follow this Zacian around because he is going to be the key to winning this game. If we win this game, it's because of the Zacian. If we lose this game, it's because of the Zacian. Throw down a close combat. Throw down a gravity. Follow the Zacian. It's okay to group with my team because no one's up right now that has an ult who is going to take all of us down. I don't think ulting's a good idea here. Or I don't mean ulting, I meant I don't think that ripping's a good idea here because the Greedent is up and so is the Espeon, so I'm going to ping a retreat. I don't want Zacian to be ripping this right now. But it looks like it's going to do it anyway. Okay, good, they backed out. Okay, we get that kill. Just going to heal up the team. Greedent's still around. I'm going to place down this gravity. I don't think Greninja has much secure, but this Trevenant is doing a great job of zoning here. Okay, we get it. That was a really good example of how also to play some macro as a defender because this Trevenant was really playing well in terms of zoning out, so make sure that that Greedent couldn't get in to get a good secure. which was very important for this game. A lot of times players will rip without really looking at the map, without really looking at which enemy team members are up, without really looking at which ults potentially could be up that have secure. The Greedent got in eventually, but we were all zoning him so much that he had already taken enough damage where we could just kill him before securing the Rayquaza. So it was a really good example of a good Ray fight and how to position yourself as a support, which is one of the most important things. I ended up healing for 158,000. The Trevenant did 91k, which is amazing. And my team overall just did really good positioning themselves. We had a broken Pokemon on our team, obviously, but in general, my team did great at positioning themselves and playing a good macro game there, which was super fun, and I wish every game could be like that.